Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm gonna tell you why you shouldn't move to Nashville. So I have a lot of reasons behind this. I'm basically gonna kind of ramble about this a little bit. I do wanna make a disclaimer really quick. I know that it is COVID time, so things are very different. There are a lot of closures in town. There isn't much to do. A lot of musicians are out of work. So a lot of the points I'm gonna make are in general, not really including COVID. BC, not AC, before COVID, after COVID. They apply in general, and now with all of the closures and everything, it's actually a lot worse than the in general that I'm speaking of. So keep that in mind. First of all, Nashville is oversaturated with people in general, but definitely with musicians. Literally everyone everywhere is a musician. You're really jumping into a big pool of competition, which is good and bad. There's a lot of competition. There's too many people doing the same damn thing. Yes, when you come here, you will get better. You will become a better musician. You will become a better performer, etc., etc. But everyone is good in Nashville. Like, everybody's good already. So there's just a lot of oversaturation of musicians and they're all good. So the competition is high and the musicians that are already really good are the ones that are holding the jobs right now. Those people have them sealed in. So gigs don't pay well. Broadway gigs don't pay well. Anybody who lives here, who plays here knows that. Yes, there are places where you can make really good tips. I'm not saying there haven't been times that I did make really good money, but those opportunities are also taken by the bands who normally fill those slots. So the best bands are going to keep getting the same bookings and the same slots and the same venues. And so they're the ones that are generally making the bulk of the money on Broadway because they have the best shifts and they are the best players, etc. So to break into that is pretty tough. I played on Broadway for about a year, and as much as I loved it, it was a lot of work. Some days were really great, some days weren't. And you kind of have to go into it just knowing what it is and kind of go from there. I make way more money out of town than I do in town. Base pay, tips, because a lot of tourists come to Nashville, and believe it or not, a lot of those tourists are on vacation and still don't have a lot of money, and or they don't understand that Nashville musicians don't get paid well because people who don't understand the music industry don't know anything about it. And also, being a musician in Nashville is not going to grow your fan base. We're all musicians, so your fan base is supposed to be fans, and if we're all musicians, we're not really fans. And yes, we have friendships and we support our friends and that kind of thing, but you're not growing a fan base. And in general, people who come to Nashville, like, very few of them follow your journey after they leave Nashville. I mean, a lot of people come to Nashville and they're like, wow, so-and-so is amazing and all this stuff. And then that's kind of it. On my banner, I have my social media, my website, and I do occasionally get followers or people who are interested, but not for nothing, a lot of people at the bars are drunk and they don't care and they're not paying attention, if I'm being honest. So there's that too. A lot of people think you come to Nashville and that's where you come to make it. And that's just not really reality. That's not how it works. I know when I originally came here, that's what everybody said. Like, Kota's going to Nashville, she's gonna make it. And now even sometimes when I go home, people are like, did you make it yet? And I'm like, what? Making it is whatever making it is to you. To some people, that is playing on Broadway. To some people, that's maybe working at a restaurant but getting to play music on the weekends. To some people, making it is getting a cut on their song with another artist, etc. So like this whole big idea of like what you see on TV of like a star like making it, that is not the only way you make it. It's a misconception. And honestly, when you come here, you're really just learning and putting in like a hell of a lot of work. Like sometimes people leave because they're like, oh, I didn't make it. But like, that's because they came here with the wrong impression in the first place. They came here thinking they were gonna get like discovered. And you don't get discovered in Nashville. Like, I hate to break it to you, like that's just not how it works. I have worked and played in Kid Rock's bars, Blake Shelton's bars, Luke Bryan's bars, everyone. Like Chris Young hangs out at one of the local bars that we go to all the time and that I've played at I have played at this bar while Chris Young was there, and guess what? He's not listening. Like, he doesn't care. Other musicians are not here to sign musicians. Like, that's not what it is. They're here working, or they're here just living their normal lives. So there's like this big notion that you're going to get discovered, and that's just not reality. That's just not how this town works at all. In the 1960s, that's how it worked. Like, people got discovered, but that's just not the way it goes anymore. You can build a fan base anywhere. It doesn't have to be Nashville. And honestly, you should start in your hometown or your home state and then branch outward. And those people are going to gravitate more towards you anyway. And then when you do leave, whether you come to Nashville, whether you go anywhere else, they're going to be following you because they genuinely are interested in you and supportive of you as a person and as an artist. Whereas when you come to Nashville, like, you don't see that. People are kind of in awe of your talent. Tourists are, but that's about to the extent that it's going to go. You can play music anywhere. You can make way more money playing music outside of Nashville. And you can make content anywhere. I can do a Facebook Live anywhere. I can go sit in the bushes out there and do a Facebook Live. Like, I don't have to be in Nashville, and it honestly doesn't make a difference. Another argument people like to make is that you can live here and then you can visit home whenever you want. Well, I'll make that argument in the same opposite way. You can stay home or live anywhere else, which will be cheaper than living here anyway. You can live anywhere else and come to Nashville whenever you want. You can come to Nashville to record. You can come to Nashville to play, do writers' nights, to write. Like, you don't have to live here to do those things. And maybe if, you know, you're trying to, like, be a songwriter and make a major cut, but even that is, like, it's not like it used to be. So artists only write with certain people, or they only will take songs from certain catalogs or certain publishing companies. And those publishing companies aren't really hiring anybody. And that's a whole nother story, honestly. But publishing companies are not really adding to their rosters. So it's just like so rare unless you're, you know, best friends with somebody at a publishing company or at a record label. And even then, like, it's just not how it works anymore. So you don't need to be here to do all of this stuff. If I'm being honest with you, if you've kind of watched the trend of what's been going on during COVID, being an independent artist is the way to go now. I do everything myself, my social media, my booking. It's really all social media driven, and COVID has pushed it that way a little quicker, but that's honestly the way it was going anyway. We know that Spotify picked up Joe Rogan for a multi-million-dollar deal. Well, that's what's basically going to be happening from now on. Record labels are basically going to go away. There's no A&R anymore. They can't afford to develop an artist. They want to find artists that are already developed, that already have a huge fan base, etc., etc. So what I'm doing and what musicians should be doing is working on building their fan base organically, making content, putting in the actual work that it takes, and sharing that and using social media as a platform to do so, because that's really the way to win right now. Another thing to realize is that Nashville is glorified in general because of the TV show, or because people just don't really understand what it is to live here or to be a musician, etc. But it's not all it's cracked up to be. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, and people love to be like, if you don't like it here, leave. Like, all right, let's grow up a little bit. We don't have to get so defensive. I've said in another video that I probably won't stay here. I'm touring out so much anyway and making more money doing it, and all of the work that I do, the content creation, my YouTube, everything, like, I don't need to be here. Don't get me wrong. I loved Nashville. I loved Nashville when I first moved here, and I think everyone kind of has that beautiful kind of moment when they first move here, and you're really excited and you're just full of this dream that you have to follow, and you do get bits and pieces of that magic sometimes. But keep in mind, when I moved here in 2014, my rent was $400. My rent is pretty much triple that now. It's gotten so much more expensive, and in a lot of ways I just think Nashville is overrated. I mean, it's fun, it's beautiful, cool, but like, I miss the beach, and everybody that's here is not really from here. So you have a lot of transplants, which is cool in terms of like meeting people and stuff, but it's also been really hard to find my tribe. And honestly, like, my best friends that I have made here are from New Jersey or from the Northeast, because it's a different kind of vibe and we're a different kind of people. And we are in the South right now, so it's just a different kind of lifestyle. There are a lot of people who move here and then leave. There are a lot of people who feel the same way I do, that Nashville's overrated and etc., that it's hard to make friends, all that. So I'm not alone, and I'm also not being an asshole. I do love Nashville for what it's worth. I just know that I don't want to end up here, and I don't know how much longer I really want to stay here, especially if I can live somewhere that I'm happier and just travel here whenever I want to or need to. My camera keeps dying. While I'm here, I just want to remind you guys to subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single week on Thursday, sometimes also on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Here's the thing. People who are successful here are already successful here, which is fine because honestly, there's something for everybody. And in this industry, there's so many different ways you can do things. There's so many different ways you can be successful. I mean, of course, there are perks to moving here. You get better. Networking is cool, but if I'm being honest, I've met thousands and thousands of people. I've met famous people. I've met everybody there is to meet. You know, you meet producers, you meet record labels, you meet publishing companies. I've gotten to meet some people that I really look up to, and it's been an amazing experience. The networking in this town, it can really go either way though. I've had some great experiences, but also like there's a writer's round that I can't play on because I didn't go out with the dude who runs it. So now he won't book me. Stupid things like that. Or people who run writer's rounds will continuously book their friends. And then when you're like, hey, do you have any open slots? When can I play your writer's round? They're like, oh, I'm really booked up. I'll reach out again in a few months. But yet the same people are playing every week, or sometimes they leave you on red, and it has nothing to do with your talent. Like, I've seen some insanely talented people. I know insanely talented people. I have friends here who are phenomenal, who don't get certain opportunities for reasons that don't even make sense. I think when I first moved here, I thought everybody was really, really nice. But honestly, like, where I'm from, like, you tell it like it is. And if you like somebody, they know it. If you don't like somebody, you don't really fuck with them. But like here, I've met a lot of two-faced people. I met people that are really nice to your face and then talk behind your back. It's different. It's weird. I don't know. I think this town is a little bit selfish. A lot of musicians have egos, and that's a thing. Like, I try to make sure I'm confident in myself, but I'm also very humble and thankful for like opportunities I get. But musicians have egos. I think it's kind of a selfish town where people are here for themselves and they're trying to make it and they're trying to be successful, and sometimes people don't care who they step on to get there, and I personally think that's kind of shitty. Another thing I want to point out too is that when you come to Nashville, you are a small fish in a very, very, very big pond. But once you leave Nashville, if you're talented and if you're trying to pursue this, you wind up being a big fish in a little pond, and that helps you way more. When I go home or when I go out of state, like, I get way more feedback, I get way more support than I ever do in this town. So that's something to think about too. You know, the truth is that there are a lot of great things about Nashville, and I've really enjoyed my journey here, and I needed to do it, and it was part of my story, and I think that that's the truth for a lot of people. But Nashville in 2020, never mind COVID when everything is closed and we have no opportunities really, it's very different from the way it was 10, 15, 40 years ago. It's a different time. It's a different town. Another thing people talk a lot about is burnout. Now, burnout to me is different than giving up. Giving up is kind of an internal struggle thing, but you do get burnt out being in this town. I only played Broadway for a year. Some people play Broadway for 15, 20 years, and I got tired. I got tired of doing it every single day because it's work. I know people like to think like music isn't work, but it is. You know, learning new songs, or your vocal cords are a muscle. They get tired. Especially if you're doing 4-hour gigs. You're doing 2 4-hour gigs, and it's late, and you got to wake up in the morning and go to work or go back to a venue and play. Like, it is work. And you do get burnt out, especially there are times when you feel unappreciated, or you feel like, what's the point? Or you're not making a lot of money. So there's a reason people leave. I'm not alone in feeling the way I feel. And I'm also not saying this in a negative way. Like, I'm very happy. I'm not trying to be negative, but you need to be realistic. And like, do you need to move to Nashville to be successful? No, you don't. Absolutely not. I think it's a little bit overrated. I think you can come here and maybe get a little bit better, but I don't think you need to live here. You can visit here. You can come live here and see for yourself. But anyway, the main point I'm trying to say is that you don't have to move here to be successful. Keep up on your social media, keep writing, keep doing your thing, and you'll find success if you're meant to find it. If you work really hard, if you put yourself out there. It's 2020, like, labels are going away. Like, you don't need anybody to help you. You need to help yourself. You need to put yourself in the right spot. You need to be doing all the work. You need to be throwing yourself out there into the fire and doing all the things to make yourself successful. Nobody's going to do it for you, especially not in 2020 in Nashville. So, if this camera shuts off one more time. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you're enjoying my content. If you do, make sure that you subscribe and thumbs up this video. Hopefully this helps you decide if you want to move here or not. I upload videos every Thursday, sometimes Tuesday and Wednesday as well. So make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned, and I will see you guys next time.